The Subcommittee on Indian and Insular Affairs will come to order. Without objection, the chair is authorized to declare recess of the subcommittee at any time. The subcommittee is meeting today to hear testimony on tribal autonomy and energy development, implementation of the Indian Tribal Energy Development and Self-Determination Act. I like that name. Under Committee Rule 4F, any oral opening statements at hearings are limited to the chairman and the ranking minority member. I therefore ask unanimous consent that all other members' opening statements to be made part of the hearing record if they are submitted in accordance with Committee Rule 3.0. Without objection, so ordered. I will now recognize myself for an opening statement. This camera's kind of in our way, and I apologize for that. We'll try to fix that next time. Tribes and individual Indians control roughly 56 million acres of land, much of which holds untapped energy and mineral potential. For example, 30% of the coal reserves west of the Mississippi River are found on tribal lands. An additional approximately 44 million acres of land in Alaska are owned in fee simple by Alaska Native corporations, who have also sought to develop mineral and energy resources on those lands. These untapped resources can be a key revenue source for tribes, particularly in rural areas, and can increase the United States supply of energy. And several tribes have chosen to develop those resources for the benefit of their tribes, tribal members, and surrounding communities. However, development of projects on tribal trust lands requires jumping through more hoops, more bureaucracy, and involves more agencies than on any other type of land. We need to change that. A tribe must also go through the Bureau of Indian Affairs as well as any other applicable Department of the Interior agencies and receive approval before any energy project can move forward. This increases costs for developing any projects, surface or subsurface, on Indian lands, and impacts private investment opportunities that a tribe may want to pursue. Congress has worked towards easing these restrictions to provide a more even playing field for our tribes. And in 2005, Congress authorized the Tribal Energy Resource Agreements, or TERAs, as a way to give tribes more autonomy over energy projects on their lands. Once a tribe has established a TERA, it had it approved by the Department of the Interior. A tribe could enter into energy project agreements with developers without the need for secretarial approval for each project. Yet tribes had more questions than answers after regulations governing the creation of TERAs were finalized, and no tribe has chosen to go through the process to implement one. In an effort to streamline the TERA process as well as benefit other tribal energy goals, Congress passed the Indian Tribal Energy Development and Self-Determination Act amendments in 2018. Despite its passage, issues with the TERA process have remained, and no tribe has yet entered into these agreements. Other provisions of the 2018 law were either not fully implemented, like the biomass demonstration project, or not fully taken advantage of, like the extended leasing authority provisions. I look forward to talking with our witnesses, as each have dealt with the difficult energy development landscape for tribes. It is important that we hear from the Indian tribes about the barriers, remaining issues, and what future activities they wish to seek to meet energy autonomy. As I've said before, expanding the ability of tribes to use their land in ways without needing to come to the government for approval is crucial for furthering self-determination and economic security. Each tribe is uniquely situated within their lands, their culture, and their history. Tribal governments already seek to make the best decisions for their members, for their social, cultural, and economic security. Congress has a responsibility to all Americans to work towards abundant, affordable energy and ensure tribes are able to develop their energy resources as best suits the needs and desires of each community. Energy development on tribal lands is not only beneficial for our tribes, but for the United States as a whole, for each and every one of us. We need an all-of-the-above energy strategy, and I do not think that this can be accomplished without the partnership of federally recognized tribes. Thank you to the witnesses for being with us today. I look forward to our discussion, and I look forward to continuing this conversation about what tribal autonomy and energy policy should be in the future. What you have described is, I think, the epitome of the old adage that the government is always trying to fix its last solution. And I really do look forward to working with you to find better solutions that actually meet the needs of the tribes rather than merely giving lip service to what it is that you need. The heavy hand of the federal government is just simply unacceptable. And the fact that it can take this amount of time for you to get the permits or the approvals that you need is just simply, again, I'm going to use the word unacceptable. Also, Ms. Becker, you indicated that perhaps you were going to raise issues that were a little bit uncomfortable. If we don't have uncomfortable discussions, we're not going to have any discussions at all. If our agencies are failing our tribes at addressing these energy issues that are not only critical to you, but critical to the United States of America, then we are failing everybody. I want to thank you for what you do in Wyoming, for what your tribe does in Wyoming. You guys are a fabulous neighbor, a fabulous producer. We appreciate how you operate, and we appreciate what every one of you are trying to do in terms of improving the situation for your tribal members. Mr. Baker, the Terra concept seemed to hold a lot of promise for those tribes, like the Southern Ute, that want more control over resource decisions on your own lands. However, no tribe has yet submitted one to the Department of the Interior for approval. And can you elaborate on your testimony a little bit and discuss more about the inherent federal function issue that has affected your tribe's decision on whether to submit a Terra and why it is important to solve it?
Okay, well, again, you know, as we mentioned, no tribe has entered to that. I think our tribe has been asking for clarification for many years on that. And it does make an impact how we're going to move forward. But again, it just appears that, you know, we want to, the terror regulations or whatever, it's like saying we're going to play a game, but the government's not telling us the rules of the game. Why do we want to waste time and money? We've already done that in the past, where we put a lot of our staff ahead to try to get ahead of this, and it really boiled down to nothing. So for us, it was a loss of funding. And I think we have to move cautiously how we're going to do things, and we have held back on some of that because, again, we don't know the rules. You know, we just don't, we're not working together. I feel that the federal government's not doing their part. I mean, it should be a simple answer. It should be a simple question. And again, as we sit here today, that's what we're all here for as leaders, to talk. How can we see a better tomorrow? How can we work together? And you all know the challenges of every tribe is different. So, you know, help us get through it, you know. And with that, I believe our own tribes, they work with each other. You know, how did you do that? How did you do this? You know, they meet at certain meetings, they talk about these issues, the challenges, but it just seems like for years, nothing has ever come out of it, you know, and that's why they're really being cautious on not moving forward.
And I take it that you're seeking clarification from federal agencies, but that clarification has not been forthcoming.
Right.
Okay, so then I'm going to challenge the four of you, and I'm going to ask you to do something for us. I would like you to put together the checklist or the information or the documentation of what you believe our agencies should be doing. You bring that to us, and then let's see if we can solve it from your standpoint. Because if these agencies are not moving forward with the projects, or you're not able to move forward with the projects because the agencies are neither clarifying or nor responding nor dealing with the individual situations that every single one of your tribes have, or any other tribe around this country, then we need to solve it from the ground up. Coming to Washington, D.C. and saying that the Department of Interior or the Secretary of Interior is not giving us the information, we know that, and that's the frustration that we have. I want your help in knowing what I need to ask the Secretary of Interior to do. Tell us how to make these programs better, and we will try to fix them. This should never be a top-down approach. We need to come to you and say, how do we go about making sure that we do get the permits that we need to be able to remove the trees? Why in the world would it take years to do that? That is an absolute absurdity, and it kind of demonstrates how broken this place can be, but it's also why I have worked as hard as I have to try to return autonomy to the tribes, because you're the ones who can make the better decisions that are going to be in the best interest of your members, and you're actually going to be able to succeed to accomplish something. So help us help you. I am all ears. I will work with you. Mr. Baker, what is your response?
And I would like to say, you know, the Southern Ute Tribe would like to work with the committee to address the issue, to bring clarity and certainty to the Terra idea. Again, you know, it's you mentioned how can we help you, help us, you know, and that's one of our philosophies, even working with the local BIA. You know, there's a lot of things we cannot get done, and we've got to the point where we're asking the BIA, How can we help you help us? You know, we got to work together. We're, as a tribe, reaching out because we need things to move along, but you're not doing it. We always get the excuses of they don't have the professionalism. Well, the tribes do, we do, but you're holding us back. You know, how can you help us? And again, just indicating that the tribe would be willing to work with, you know, how we can bring certainty to the Terra.
So I have a lot more questions I wanted to ask you, and I kind of got on my soapbox, but I'm going to tell you, I'm 2 floors above here. You come here and you come and talk to my staff, and we'll sit down and we need to make that list. We need to have an idea of where to go because I don't have the answers, but you do. So help us fix this. And with that, I will call on our chairman, Mr. Westerman, for his 5 minutes of questioning.